I know I haven't been here for a while. It's been a couple weeks, but Bitcoin and politics is back once again. Welcome to my beautiful living room. How I wish. No, this is not my living room, but I decided to use this as a background because I thought it was amazing. Listen, folks, this show is being sponsored by our good friends around LeX. You know them as well as I do. It's the best way for you to stack sats, right? You go to their platform, you connect your card to that platform, and you just go ahead and do what you always done. Purchase things, buy things like you always do. It's going to be stacking those sats in the background. With Bitcoin moving up the way it is right now, those sats are looking really healthy. So here's the thing. If you go over and use Bitcoin and politics, you'll get $15 in sats. Those numbers are going up and you don't want to miss it. So why don't you jump over and do that? And we're going to go ahead and get on with the show. All right, folks, my name is Paul McNeil. I'm the crypto curator. Happy to be back with you guys once again to talk about some of the most craziest stuff going on. And this week, we were going to do it last week and some things got thrown off due to our time change. But the question that I've been asking people and wondering about is that is Congress losing their shit over crypto? And I think they are, right? And that's both in the literal sense and figuratively. Are they losing a lot of money as a result of crypto? I think a lot of people in Congress are worried about that. They're concerned about the decentralization nature of crypto. It's looking bad, folks. Now, right off the bat, you know who I'm going to talk about. When it comes to Congress, there's only one person to really bring up, and that's our good friend, Elizabeth Warren. Yes, she is on a war path, and she's even baking this into her re-election campaign about being anti-crypto. Now, here's the thing, folks. Listen, if you live in her state, why don't you do me a favor and gather your friends together and make sure they get to the polls and vote against her? Because she is actually losing her shit. Now, so here are 4 little bullet points that happened. And again, this is a couple weeks, about a week and a half, couple weeks old, but it's still relevant. She's demanding to see Binance balance sheets, or at least she was. She's calling out sham audits, banning wallets, and of course, as I mentioned, already talking about her re-election campaign being anti-crypto. Now, on the next slide, I want to talk about what this letter that was written says. Crypto skeptic Warren's co-signers were fellow Democrats Chris Van Hollen and a Republican, Roger Marshall. So she's got some bipartisan action going on here. They claim there's evidence that the companies attempted to evade U.S. regulators, evade sanctions, and facilitated the laundering of at least $10 billion in lack of transparency. Now, this letter was sent to Binance, or it was sent about Binance. It was published in Cointelegraph, the Daily Hodl, right? And so she's going hard, as well as Congress as a whole is trying to go hard after Binance. And CZ's been catching a lot of flack as a result of it. Now, outside of Binance, she's also talking about banning your crypto wallets, right? Elizabeth Warren is back with the Anti-Money Laundering Act that would, among other things, make it mostly illegal for you to use your own crypto wallet. They are coming. This fight is getting serious, and we're starting to see that there is going to be some counterpunch going on here. Listen, the crypto industry is not going to lay down and just take this, right? We're going to fight back, and they can expect a serious fight. Now, while Democrats, and she's trying to get this sort of bipartisan collaboration army going, we also have other people in Congress who are fighting for crypto and fighting for Bitcoin. And that's really important, and mostly Bitcoin, but we're fighting to make sure that this thing stays around. Now, again, as we look at her building her army, she is talking about, she's one of the most influential politicians, which everybody understands that, listen, some of these people, they get in Congress and it seems like they just cannot be removed. Year after year, people complain about them, they whine about them, they cry about what's going on, but yet and still, every time they get reelected. Look at our friend that was in California. as Travis Kling likes to call him, punk ass Brad Sherman, right? This dude defeated everybody running against him, and unfortunately, there was a good friend of ours. She was running against him, and she lost. I mean, mightily lost against him. And it seems like these people just have a strong hold in their positions, and it's unfortunate. Now she's launched her re-election campaign, focusing on building out an anti-crypto army. Although Warren's hostile efforts against Bitcoin and crypto are nothing new, the choice of words, as well as the central role in particular, is frightening. Covered by Bitcoinist and the Daily Huddle. Now, we want to look at, outside of Elizabeth Warren, there is a battle of the regulators going on. And there is this SAB 121. Representative Patrick McHenry, he is a Republican in North Carolina, the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, and Senator Lamas, she's a Republican in Wyoming, senator, that is, who has authored crypto legislation. They sent a letter to several banking agencies on Thursday asking how they're dealing with the with the controversial bulletin from the Securities and Exchange Commission that advised financial institutions that they should maintain customers' crypto holdings on their own balance sheet, which is insanity, right? They should not be holding this on their balance sheet, because if they are, basically they're owning the crypto. Should not be the case. Now, this was covered in CoinDesk, Decrypt, and Cointelegraph. These were a lot of the articles that got a lot of attention. Now, the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, already said last year that central banks were evaluating the SEC's directive, which for digital assets changes longstanding practice that customer assets would be kept off a financial firm's balance sheets. But now here we go with SAB 121 trying to put it back on there. Unfortunate. As we look at the mining emissions, right? So you got Elizabeth Warren trying to battle Binance, battle your wallets. Then you got this SAB 121 trying to put crypto assets on a financial firm's balance sheets. And now we're looking at this whole mining emission thing, which we've all talked about this ad nauseum, about this whole ESG narrative. It's a bunch of malarkey, right? Not to be, Markey is not the same. But United States Senator Edward Markey and a Representative Jared Kaufman, he's a Democrat, right? Both Democrats, they announced on March 3rd that they would reintroduce the Crypto Asset Environmental Transparency Act in Congress. The bill would require crypto mining companies to disclose emissions for operations that consume more than 5 megawatts of power, and require the administration of the EPA to head up the interagency investigation of the impact of crypto mining in the United States. Guys, we've been through this enough. The reality is crypto mining is a fraction of the energy usage in the world. And why are we focusing on this? Because someone has a wild hair up their rear and they want this to be attacked. And it's not going to happen, folks. It's just not. We have enough strong supporters fighting against this. And it's our hope that we will prevail. Now, again, that was covered in Cointelegraph, CoinDesk. In addition to that, I do want to note that the bill, Senate Bill 661, which is sponsored by these two gentlemen, is the one that we're talking about. And again, if you live in these folks' districts, please message them, call them, talk to them, tell them no. And don't be rude to them. Don't be ugly to them. Remember, we had our good friend on from Cap Hill Crypto, who was a former legislative aide for Senator John Cornyn here in Texas. He said, be nice. That's the way to get things done. You don't want to call them up screaming and yelling obscenities. Talk nice to these people. As a matter of fact, the more we befriend the staffs of these politicians, the better chances we get. And I know in crypto, you hate to hear that, but it's true. In addition to what I just covered, this is a quote from Senator Markey. While we're working together as a nation to face down an existential crisis that puts the health and safety of our people and our planet in jeopardy, being a little dramatic there, crypto miners are sucking megawatts after megawatt from our public grids and emitting skyrocketing greenhouse gases just so they can make a buck for themselves, he said. We can't afford to let this industry run roughshod over our communities anymore. Dude, listen, here's the reality. This is not true. You don't have to be that dramatic. Crypto mining does not. As a matter of fact, here in Texas, which we are the mining capital of the world, Bitcoin mining helps the power grid. It allows the power grid to run more efficiently. This is not doing what this senator is talking about. Markey, you're way off beat, buddy. There's no reason to be like this, and my hope is that they're going to be changing soon. Now, as we look at other issues that are being fought, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission regulation through enforcement is not a healthy way. Now, this is an opinion of course, Brad Garland, CEO of Ripple, and he's saying that you can't push regulation through by enforcement, right? It's just not the way to do it. And to regulate an industry, he says, and may result in the U.S. being less attractive. Here's the thing, and you guys have seen this in the news, at least for the last couple of weeks or so. Companies are starting to seriously consider moving offshore, and that's a danger to the U.S. Listen, these politicians and regulators need to get their act together because we do not want to see a huge vacuum sound of companies exiting the United States to move overseas to do business. Circle, Coinbase, Kraken, right? These companies very well can move their operation offshore, and that will not be good. Maddie Sat said Bitcoin mining will become a state-regulated industry. Maddie, I have to agree with you, but I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case. I hope that, one, federally, we don't want it. States, yes, we do want them to regulate it, but the regulation that they're looking at is not the right regulation. ESG is not a problem. As a matter of fact, what they should be regulating is more miners coming to their state to get them to fix their power grids and to allow them to operate more efficiently. Not trying to shut them down because of greenhouse gases. As a matter of fact, you guys might know this, Bitcoin mining uses the majority of renewable energy. That's right. It is not using dirty old coal. It's using nuclear, wind, hydro, solar, right? All of these technologies are being used to power Bitcoin mining. It's not coal. So again, these politicians are way, way off base. So, Maddie said, I hope, like you, it won't be on a federal level. Good. Okay, this is somewhat good news, right? Keep Innovation in America Act. Representative Patrick McHenry and Richie Torres reportedly plans to reintroduce the Keep Innovation in America Act to address reporting requirements in the infrastructure law. So that was a bit of good news. They weren't losing their shit. In fact, these guys are on it. Right after that, we've got the Responsible Financial Innovation Act. This is Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, along with Senator Lummis from Wyoming. This is a bipartisan bill, and they're looking to reduce more of their bill in April. Mid-April is when that bill's going to come out. So I did have to throw some good in with the bad because enough of that bad will drive us crazy, and I didn't want us to be, completely insane. All right, back to the shit show, as they say. Operation Choke Point 2.0. Listen, guys, podcast after podcast after podcast, Nick Carter's been talking about this. You guys should be tuned into this. It's insanity. But 4 United States Republican senators led by Bill Hagerty have written a letter to the head of financial banking regulatory agencies questioning the ideological motivation behind recent regulatory moves in regards to cryptocurrency. They compared the regulators' policies to the Obama administration Operation Choke Point. And this is what he said. We are especially worried that overreaching behavior by the banking regulators will inevitably blend into other legal industries. You can't just start choking stuff off, guys. We saw that happen during the Obama administration, going after gambling, cannabis, right? Going after these industries. You can't just choke them off like that. And if they try this with crypto, they're going to be sadly mistaken because while some crypto might get choked off, Bitcoin is not going to get choked off, people. So good luck at trying to shut it down. It's not going to work. All right. Again, we've got some good mixed in with the bad. This is in Congress again. Republican House Leader Tom Emmer, he's a Republican. He is one of the biggest champions, by the way, when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto, but mostly Bitcoin. And he says Congress will shape the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in the U.S., not the White House. Now, this was in response to the White House study that came out And it's unfortunate, again, that this administration seems to not have their act together when it comes to crypto. They should. And at the end of the show, I'm going to give you a surprise because it's really shocking, the news that came out today. But Representative French Hill, he's the chair of the newly formed Digital Asset Focused House Financial Services Subcommittee. He warned that businesses will go elsewhere while agencies crack down on crypto. Hill, an Arkansas Republican, said the first step to pick up stable coin regulation, continuing from last year's effort. The Daily Hall and the Block covered that. So again, we've got politicians in Congress that are going to be fighting against the others. And the reality of all of this is, in the current state that we're in, nothing's going to get done in Congress. Not this year, not this term. We will be waiting till the re-election because right now they're at a stalemate. They don't have enough votes to get anything done. And definitely, if they're going to get it to the president's desk, that's not going to work either. All right, let's turn our attention to the CFTC a little bit. I had to bring this up, even though this is not Congress. This is one of the regulators. The CFTC Commissioner Summer Messenger says that Congress must order the SEC to cooperate with the CFTC when drafting crypto regulation. What did Congress just say? Congress is going to be the ones that's going to control this, not the White House. And the CFTC is going to the right place. CFTC is not talking to Biden, not talking to his administration. They're talking to Congress, who they should be. And they're saying, listen, they're like kids, right? It's like kids, you know, mom, dad, brother hit me, sister hit me, right? These regulators are tattling on each other, asking Congress to, moderate this fight that's going on. So regulators need to work together to craft a regulatory framework for crypto, but they may need a hand in the form of a legislative mandate, CFTC Commissioner Summer Messenger said. The CFTC and SEC holds different views about how to define some digital assets, and that was from the Block. And it's unfortunate that we've got this spat going on between the CFTC and SEC. I think the SEC needs to let go, give it all over to CFTC, let these people take care of business. We know the CFTC is a lot more pro-crypto than the SEC. SEC just wants money, if you ask me, but that's me just talking. All right. In addition to that, we've got banking blame, right? We had the whole banking crap that came up, and Senator Michael Bennet has a bone to pick with the banks that forge ties with crypto while the marijuana industry remains mostly shut out of the financial system. So this senator is criticizing Signature Bank's involvement in crypto during the Senate Finance Committee hearing, and Bennet was blunt in his dislike of crypto, calling it less stable than marijuana. And again, we are now learning more and more that crypto had nothing to do with Signature, right? Nothing at all. This was them trying to make an attack where they didn't need to make an attack. So there is a search for some bipartisanship in this whole thing, right? And this is from CoinDesk. It says, we're going through the mechanical processes right now until the said Wednesday at a bipartisan policy center event in Washington, D.C. He said that all the ideas coming from various offices are under that review with an aim toward finding components that could clear a Congress split with the political parties. Tillis sits on the Senate Bank Committee, which will have a key role in advancing any sort of crypto legislation. As you can see, they're trying to get their act together up there, but I don't think they're going to be successful. It is absolutely a shit show up there in Congress. They're having a hard time trying to figure out what it is. So if you remember earlier, I was talking about the whole White House. There was an economic report that came out. The Biden administration took aim at cryptocurrencies in a new report, arguing that many aspects of the digital asset ecosystem are creating issues for consumers, the financial system, and the environment. Is it me, or do they just sound absolutely whiny? Like, relax, guys. Stop making this seem so crazy. It's not as crazy as it sounds. So a statement from Republican lawmakers ahead of the inaugural hearing of the United States House of Representatives Subcommittee focused on digital assets, financial technology inclusive, suggests partisan divides on crypto regulation. Everybody, as you can see, covered that. CoinDesk, CoinTelegraph, the Block, everybody was talking about this whole White House thing. Now, if we go on, President Biden has a political plan to lawlessly abuse the administration's state to push American crypto firms and their United States customers into offshore, unregulated, opaque, and unsafe markets. Again, it's the same stuff, right? White House, we don't want this. Get with Congress. get with the regulators. All three of you, it's a three-ring circus really, need to get this whole show together so that we can move on with our lives and let this innovation move on and stop with the constant crap. And that's what it really is. It's constant crap from the White House to the regulators. It's all crap, and it shouldn't be, because this doesn't have to be that hard. Now, in addition to trying to force these companies offshore, we've got taxation that we're looking at. Gains accrued by staking cryptocurrencies should not be treated as taxable events. Now, if you remember this case, Tezos, it's the next slide there. Tezos was the company that, and I forget the couple that fought. The IRS came back to them and said that, hey, your staking gains from Tezos should be counted as taxable. And they said, no, it shouldn't be. Well, after some review and investigations and hearings, they came back and said, you know what, you're right. It shouldn't be. So we want to give you money back. The couple said, we're not having it. What we want you guys to do is we want you to put law in place that says if people are staking, that it's not taxable. And that's caused a whole nother whirlwind. I think they're still fighting that right now. But if anybody, listen, use your common sense. If I take Bitcoin and I put it on a platform like Celsius, don't ever do that, by the way, never. Bad thing in the world to do. Thank you, Joshua Jarrett and Jessica Jarrett. Thank you. Boy, I tell you, Nick's on the ball. But if you put Bitcoin on and they give you Bitcoin in return, you have not moved anything to fiat. You've got an asset that's earning in-kind asset. There should not be a taxable event. But the problem is that they're treating any type of staking rewards as taxable event. Now, if I've taken the Bitcoin that I received and I put that in the fiat, that should be a taxable event. Or if they paid me fiat for that Bitcoin, that should be a taxable event. Bitcoin to Bitcoin should not be a taxable event. Here we go. It only makes sense to tax such gains upon their conversion to legal tender, as I just said. To do otherwise undermines a marquee environment policy from the administration of the United States, President Joe Biden. Again, you tell me, everything I'm going over, it sounds like Congress, the White House, regulators are losing their shit. All right, let's talk about CBDCs. CBDCs have made a lot of press lately. And Representative Tom Emmer has expressed concerns over the introduction of a programmable central bank digital currency in the United States. And he's stating that it may compromise the financial privacy of Americans. Please remember that statement. It can compromise the financial privacy of American citizens. Senator Ted Cruz, we know, also introduced a bill to fight against CBDCs, right? Keep that in your mind. Do not forget that, because I'm coming to my surprise and soon. Now, as we look at the banking drama, Tom Emmer, again, this guy's been fighting. He's the majority whip of the United States. He's reiterating concerns the federal government is weaponizing concerns around the banking industry to go after crypto. As you can see, we keep going through the same cycle. Look at all this news. And this was just random news that I pulled from the last couple of weeks of regulatory and legislative news that's in my brief. If most of you guys know and you follow me, I publish a brief on a platform called Publish 0x. That platform allows me to easily update throughout the day the news as it rolls in. At the very beginning of the morning, it's really short. But as it goes throughout the day, this blog gets incredibly long because there's a lot of news happening in the space. And so CBDCs have started popping up and everybody's looking for CBDC. You got Peru is talking about a CBDC right now, believe it or not. And so this next news I got, this is breaking news. This came out today, and it is really breaking. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nephew of John F. Kennedy, is now running for president. And this is his statement. FedNow, the CBDC in July, which Kennedy Jr. warns could lead to financial slavery and political tyranny. Kennedy thinks that the present crisis might be used as justification for ushering in a new generation of CBDCs, which poses a possible danger to individuals' ability to maintain their financial privacy and autonomy. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a Democrat. We haven't heard any Democrat hardly talk like this. And so if this guy runs for office and he really gives a run to Sleepy Joe, had to say that, sorry, Sleepy Joe. This is big. We don't get Democrats talking like this. Democrats, one, are for CBDCs. Elizabeth Warren, who is the number one champion of CBDCs, Elizabeth Warren. But he is against CBDCs, and he's telling you why. Financial slavery and political tyranny. This guy is also an anti-vaxxer, a Democrat as an anti-vaxxer. I don't know where they pulled this guy from, but he didn't come from the old school. Something new is going on with the Democrats. Now, let's see what happens as he continues to run, as the party gets their hands around his throat and see if they can choke him to death and stop him. But we'll see if an RFK can become president. Folks, Congress is losing it. But we do have hope. As you can see, we do have some politicians that are really working hard and fighting for this space. And they can't do it alone. And this is where I am begging you guys, as viewers, if you're in the United States, please go find out who your representatives are and start talking to their offices. They can't listen to all of us, but they can listen to their staff, and their staff can listen to all of us. So the more we talk to the staff, the more the staff is going to talk to everyone. I mean, talk to all these representatives. Now, here in Texas, we had some craziness happen on the local side, the state side, actually not local, it would be state. At the state level, the Senate, a subcommittee to the Senate, they unanimously approved removing some of the incentives Bitcoin miners get for shutting down during times when the grid needs the power. That's unfortunate. And we've got a lot of people out there fighting to get this back on track. My hope is that the Texas Blockchain Council and others can get these politicians under control and stop this. Excuse me. We found out today that it appears that our good friend, Rat Poison Squared, is behind this crap, Warren Buffett. So let's not let Warren Buffett come to Texas and try and run things when it comes to Bitcoin mining. Texas is not anti-Bitcoin. It's not anti-crypto. Texas is still the same. We've got some companies that don't like the treatment that Bitcoin miners are getting, and they're trying to meddle in that. So please talk to your state senators, please, and get them to vote no on Senate Bill 1751. I think that's the right one. All right. I'm going to wrap this show up. Folks, as you know, that's my website that Nick, our producer, has put up, thecryptocurator.com. Please check it out. I have the top 3 news articles that's getting covered. And in today's news, you can see that the white paper was hidden on Apple computers, and I can verify using an Apple computer that I found the Bitcoin white paper actually in the file. That it's crazy that they put the Bitcoin white paper in this new software update. Binance is getting their license canceled in Australia, and Signature Bank crypto was not. It's got 99 problems, and crypto is not one of them. We've got videos, podcasts of the day, and as you guys know, I am a part of a family of shows here on the Bitcoin Live Network. We've got Beyond the Block. I think that's Matt's show, Bad Case. We've got Gingerly, which is a phenomenal show with Purple Suede and Style Pigeon. We've got 3D Changes Things. I think it is Changes Paces. There you go. Nick's put them up there. Check out all of our shows. We got a lot of shows, and we cover a lot of different topics to keep you guys informed as to what's going on. So whatever you do, please go to that YouTube channel, smash that subscribe, smash the like buttons, get us some more visibility so that we can help people move into Bitcoin, primarily Bitcoin. If you guys want to dabble in the other stuff, you can. I'm not a toxic maxi, but you have to agree with me that Bitcoin is the safest, most decentralized, censorship-resistant technology on the planet. It's the best savings technology, as Mark Yesko says. That's just the way that it is. I'm not trying to hate on the other projects. I'm just trying to tell you the real deal. This is called Bitcoin Live. Bitcoin is the asset to choose. So you know what to do. You guys, thank you for watching. If you tuned in, if you're rewatching this, I really appreciate it. Leave us a comment. If I was wrong on some stuff, please tell me. Hopefully I wasn't. But the thing is, we just want to keep you guys informed. I think that's about it. Remember, go check out Round the X. And with that, I'm going to say sayonara until next Thursday. Crypto Curator out.